heard a great quote the other day. I'd name the person who I think it is, but I've got it down to like 3 people. And so forgive me for not naming you personally for this great quote. It's this: when you dig a well, you don't dig 100 12-inch deep holes. You dig one. So my question for you is this: is this what you're doing in your business? Are you digging a bunch, whether it's 100 or 4 or 40? Are you digging a bunch of different wells and taking your efforts and spreading them across multiple different ideas, multiple different businesses, and going after them? Or are you going after one? And while we're at it, are you one of those people who find yourself getting distracted from your hole just because it hasn't succeeded? So here's the thought. You got this hole that's got to go down 1,000 feet deep. And at 990 feet, you get an email from some launch that sounds pretty cool. And so you stop drilling this well and you go over to this other one that you have no idea whether it's going to be successful or not. Got to tell you, that is the problem with so many people. I'm in this group and I'm in this group and I bought so-and-so's big product and I bought so-and-so's mastermind and I'm in like 6 different programs and I'm trying to make them all work and everything. And essentially what you're doing is you're digging 5 different holes as opposed to one. Because that's how results happen. And remember in this process that every well is a failure until it succeeds. So this one's not working. Well, is it not working because it's a bad idea, or is it not working because you just haven't done it quite enough? And while we're at it, let's just look at how we can have this conversation with ourselves. Ask yourself, why did I choose to do this over the other things? Then the next question is, has anything changed from that original idea? And more importantly is there any evidence that it won't succeed with more or better effort? And I want to address that concept of that more or better for just a moment, because oftentimes the solution is not just to do more. So let's take the world of advertising, for example. It teaches a really great lesson. You put an ad out there and it's either going to succeed or it's going to fail. And I can show that ad to 10,000 people. And if it's not working, the solution is not to take that same ad and show it to 100,000 or 1 million people. The solution is to get a different ad. And so there are times where what you want, and I'm not saying go dig a different hole, because I'm not saying stop advertising and go do social media here. What I'm saying is that sometimes the solution is not to try harder to spend more on that same ad, is to do a different ad. In other words, let me explain it this way. Oftentimes, I'll see somebody who's got marketing that's trying to sell this, and they're trying to make it work, and it's not working. So they give up, and they start going over here to dig a different well. When in reality, they've got a great well. They're just not digging it correctly. The concept, the water, the oil, the whatever is there right underneath them. It's just that they're trying to drill at it cattywampus or something like that, when what they really need to do is to change their marketing message. It's to change their audience. It's to change whatever that is. But sometimes if you've done a launch 5 times and it's not worked yet, you probably need to change how you're doing that launch, because you're probably not doing something right in your launch. Now, this is not saying go dig a different well. What it's saying is dig that well a different way. And I realize I'm stretching this analogy too far, but recognize if you've launched multiple times and it hasn't worked, it's probably not because your idea is not good. It's probably because you're not done a good enough job of selling it. And that's what needs to change. Not give up on that and go over here and work on some brand new idea. So if what you're doing hasn't worked, then ask yourself the question, what do I have to change to make it work? So as long as your original question of, hey, I got into this for a specific reason. Why did I choose to do this? If that reason is still valid and nothing has changed, there's no evidence that what you're doing is the wrong thing, it just hasn't worked yet, then ask yourself, what do I have to change to make it work? Does this make sense to you? Can you see the concept, the framework that I'm after here? Stop digging 100 holes. Choose one hole and dig it deep. And as you're going, if it's still not working, recognize every well is a failure until it succeeds. And then also recognize that sometimes if you keep trying the same thing over again and it's not working, you need to change how you're trying it. Not necessarily abandon the idea. Just do what you're trying to do differently, better, so you got a higher chance to succeed. What's your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments. This is Don Crowther saying, just go do this stuff.